Welcome back to another cheapo multimeter review. That's right, we're flipping it to the B-side. The B-side ADMS6 to be exact. This is what they call a smart multimeter. Smart, you say? Well, that's what I say too. How smart is it? Well, let's find out. B-side ADMS6 came in via Amazon for a whopping $29.99 Canadian, about $25 US. This is one of those new auto-ranging, auto-everything. They call them smart multimeters. And yeah, it actually says smart multimeter right under the selector. Got a whole heck of a lot. These set of leads. Now, I'm going to go into a little more detail with these, but a little on the unusual side. Not only because of the way the tips are, but the actual color coding. I'll get into that in a minute. You also get a very miniature Chinese and English user manual. It's really all you need. This is a really basic meter, and it's not a whole lot of functionality. It does ship in a plain brown box, eco-friendly. Hey, we all love green. And when I said this had limited functionality, I wasn't kidding. It has volts AC/DC, milliamps up to 200 milliamps, resistance, and this is where it gets a little bit paltry. The resistance is only 6,000 K. Yeah, so not very high. You do have a voltage alert as well as NCV, and it gives frequency as well as continuity. And that's it, folks. No capacitance, no diode. Basic feature set. Turning the meter on to the right, you are in voltage alert, also known as live check mode. Turning it to the left, you are in multimeter mode, where you do have your functional feature set. Once again, volts, AC/DC, milliamps, frequency, continuity, and resistance. And that is it. 12 o'clock is the off, the one and only off position. You get two buttons with the B-side ADMS6. On the left, you see a hertz or frequency button. This also sides as a continuity flash and a high voltage alert indicator, which we'll take a look at. On the right hand, we have a hold and the backlight. Buttons themselves are nice rubber plasticized, fairly soft to the touch. Three inputs starting from the right. Now, it is not color coded, which I don't like. It should really be red. Anyway, that is your positive input lead, as well as the live check and all of the other basic input functions. Here is your common input, and on the far left is your one and only current selector, the milliamp. The unit itself is really light. Yeah, I ain't kidding. This thing is like super light. Now, if we had no boot on this, well, it would probably float. Well, no. Wouldn't float, but it's really light. Speaking of boot, it does have a boot which easily comes off. Well, not that easily. I did start it. But once again, without that boot, this is one light multimeter. On the back, you do have your one tiny little tilt stand. Once again, it's okay. It does the job. You don't have a whole lot of selector switches to run through here, just one on either side, so really not a whole lot going on. To enable the backlight, simply hold down and voila. And as you can see, actually, let me just turn the lights down a tad here. It's not a bad backlight, but really it's got a little bit of bleeding on the left-hand side. I've seen a lot better, even in the cheapo realm. It does go off after about approximately 30 seconds. Size-wise, it's quite similar to another auto range we looked at earlier, the 403B. Put them side by side. You can see it is maybe just a tad, about a half an inch, a couple centimeters longer than the rich meters, but pretty well neck and neck in terms of size and weight. In contrast to the rich meters, you can see the B-side, even though it is automatic, it does have that old school selector switch compared to the rich meters, which have done away with the selector in its entirety, and it's strictly a push button. Now, the leads themselves are fairly long, but they are of that sort of plastic variety feeling. It doesn't feel really great, to be quite honest. There is no gauge indicator on the sheathing at all. Now, my really big pet peeve with these leads are, yeah, take a look. What do you see? Yeah, well, In terms of color coding, it's a safety issue. So we have our black and we have our red. Negative, positive, positive, negative. Now, why in the world did they decide to put a red tip on the black and a black tip on the red? Because when you're down and dirty and actually probing, do you really want to have your positive and your negative reversed? No. So it makes absolutely no sense to me why B-Side decided to do something so stupid, really, and yeah, just play with fire in my mind. So just not good, not good at all. Currently sitting at 0.6 volts with the DC power supply. As you can see, the rich meters is unable to even read that, still showing us that it is in auto mode. These are both auto ranging, auto everything multimeters, so let's give it a quick look-see. Here we go, starting off at half a volt, take it right up to a whopping 5 volts. 5.6 according to DC power supply, 5.6 for the B side, 5.7 for the rich meters. Up and away, let's take it to 10 volts even. 10 volts even, 10.1 for the rich meters, 10.0 spot on for the B side. Fairly accurate, that B side so far. Now that backlight did turn off. I hope we can see that alrighty. Going up to a, let's do 24 volts even. 24.19 for the rich meters. 24.0 spot on for the B side. Okay, we're gonna max it out now up to 31.5 volts. We have the high voltage indicator on the rich meters, as you can see right here. Nothing of the sort on the B side. 31.7 volts for the rich meters, 31.67, pretty well neck and neck for the B side. Now if I just take this voltage and I just cycle it back and forth, neither of these meters has a bar graph. Definitely from my end, I can tell you that the B side is quicker to range. Alrighty, so in terms of accuracy, I'm going to give this one to the B side. Volts AC, 120 volts, looking good. Now if we hit that frequency button here, we see we are at 61 hertz. This meter only does 6,000 K, that's right, no more, no less. Really just not enough for today's electronics hobbyist. At least I don't think so. If we bring it down to the 6K mark, yeah, there we are, not a problem, but you go over and you are SOL. Right now we're sitting in milliamp mode around, about 10 milliamps. And it is a little bit fluttering. Here we go, let's take it up. Remember, we have a 200 milliamp threshold. Now we're at 50, 70, 100 milliamps. So far, so good. 150 milliamps, looking good. Now remember, this has that resettable fuse, so this should be able to take a little bit higher than the current limit that it is thresholded with. Up to 190 milliamps, we're fine. 200 milliamps, and we are over limit. So yeah, it looks like about 190 is about the threshold. Oh, that was about 198. Okay, so definitely you cannot go over 200. So I'm at 270 milliamps right now. Obviously, it is out of bounds, and we can see that polyfuse that they're utilizing, probably, I haven't looked inside yet, but this is definitely, I think, a much better scenario in terms of having a standard class fuse, which you will be changing all the time with such a low milliamp setting. Continuity mode is next. Here we go. These are the default leads. Yeah, you see how that auto ranging, auto sensing, it's just too slow. It really takes a long time before this realizes that it's supposed to be in continuity mode. And it turned off. And this is something else about the meter that really peeves me off, is the fact that even if you're utilizing it, the auto shut off will enable as it just did. So that's a real pain. Probe masters. Absolutely no difference. Surprisingly, this little B side is quite loud. 78.7 dBAs to be exact. the highest continuity thus far. Next, we're doing a high voltage test. We're going to take it up to about 1,000 volts, 1 kV. Let's see how the B-side can handle it. Let's see if we have a high voltage alarm or any sort of audible indicator. Okay, here we go. All right, we're getting an O out, but there is no audible alarm. Try it again, and we are hitting that 600 volt threshold, but that is all she wrote. So it's able to take that high voltage without any snap, crackle, or pop. That's a good thing. Right now we are in live check mode. I've got the 120 volt power. I've got the probe, and basically all you should do is probe. So you're looking for voltage. Wow. So I'm actually in the same socket I was in a second ago where it came up as a live hit. Oh wow, what a piece of crap. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Jesus, that's scary. Okay, finally we've got NCV mode, and all we do with that is take the device, turn it on, turn it to the right, under the live check or V alert mode, just another name for non-contact voltage, and wow, something works. And you see the light is flashing red. That's because it is finding high voltage. Okay, well, enough of the testing. Let's take a look on the inside and see if it's just access. We have one Phillips to access the battery compartment. And once we are inside, we have two AAAs. Now there is a nice metal brass standoff, so that is a good thing. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more Phillips to actually open the back. Alrighty, so we have the 4 Phillips removed. Apparently not. Alrighty, let's take a look at the inside right now, starting at the bottom with the input jacks themselves. Yeah, the really thin metal filaments here. Just like to see them a little beefier. No worries about the split variety, but that metallic filament is really thin. On the voltage side, we have one PTC. It's a 75S, and we have, it looks like a transistor clamp. Yeah, one diode. That's about it. Not a whole lot of protection here. You're definitely gonna want to put this on anything serious voltage-wise. What would happen is the PTC would heat up, and that's gonna blow your transistor clamp, and voila, you're gonna have no IC left. On the milliamp side, remember this does not do current strictly. It does do current, I'm sorry, but it does only low current milliamps. And here we have the W250-200, the resettable poly fuse. I really like this idea. We're seeing this implementation a lot more these days, as opposed to those horrific shite little glass fuses. At least here, this is a resettable fuse. Yeah, it's only 200 milliamps, but it does recover quickly. And that being said, you're not gonna have to worry about swapping out those glass fuses all the time. Basically, they're designed to protect from short duration, high voltage fault, current, or burst. So yeah, I really like that idea, especially on a cheap multimeter. The IC itself is cobbed. I'm somehow doubt that it's a DreamTech variant in there. The performance was really quite dismal, so not sure what that IC is, but definitely nothing to write home about. One thing that is worth mentioning is the NCV is actually quite good on this unit, and here at the top, that is our non-contact voltage filament. And it's not long, but it is a really nice solid piece of metal there, and it's soldered in quite well, and it seems to be quite efficient in terms of awareness. So I gotta say the NCV is probably the best, one of the best, or the better on this unit. If there's anything good to say about this, it has decent NCV. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's about it. There's a little bit of flux residue on the board, not the cleanest I've seen, but yeah. Finally, at the top here, we see a couple of microcontrollers. This is an AG21X, and below that is a C42X. I'm assuming they have something to do with the auto detection variant that this meter utilizes. Over here we have these springs for the battery contact, but yeah, really not too much else going on. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up, put it back together, and come back with my closing thoughts on the BSIDE ADMS6. Well, you know, it's one of these only a mother can love. Yeah, unfortunately, just overall really dismal, lackluster performance. Hey, it was slow to range, has that really lousy resistance range. It's atrociously slow at continuity. It doesn't do, you know, regular current. Yeah, it does milliamps, but only up to 200. And you know what's really annoying is this shut-off, this random shut-off that kept happening at least half a dozen times in the space of an hour while running some tests. So just, you know, just generally speaking, I don't think the BSIDE ADMS6 is ready for prime time. And hey, let's not forget whoever designed or came up with the idea of these reverse color test leads. It is insane. That is really dangerous. And even if you're a professional and you're used to, you know, probing, when you have, you know, red and black, black and red, all of a sudden everything's mixed up, it is a bit of a nightmare. So, wow, very dangerous, and yeah, just all around a dumb idea. Anything positive to say about the meter? Well, you know, it's got good NCV. Yeah, it really does. That filament attachment at the top of the meter actually works, and it works quite well. I do like the illuminated indicators for both the live wire and the continuity. And yeah, I'll have to admit that is one bloody loud piezo. The recoverable fuse, a really nice idea, much better than the glass fuses we're used to seeing in these cheapo multimeters. Makes a lot more sense. That being said, though, at the end of the day, you know, it's about 30 bucks Canadian, about 25 US, and I just don't think you're getting your money's worth. You know, if you want to buy this, keep it on the low voltage side of things, and you should be okay. But honestly, in the cheapo multimeter range, you can do much better. I'm going to give the BSIDE ADMS6 a sad and paltry 2 out of 5 stars. Hope you enjoyed this review, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thanks for all the comments, the feedback. Till the next time, keep on testing.